astronauts, this is Brandy and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. Today's reading is what is your next chapter? We have 5 piles to choose from, but before we get started, I do want to remind you, if you would like to follow me and what's going on in my life, you can follow me on Brandy the Empress TikTok. That will be linked below. If you are interested in my astrology research at all, then you can go to my Instagram. That is also linked below. But let's not waste any time and let's get started on these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey pile number 1, let's get started on your next chapter. What is going to be happening next for you? And I'm so happy to be using the After Tarot deck because don't you think it's just so fitting for this reading? We have the 3 of Swords, the 4 of Cups, the World card, the Queen of Wands, the 2 of Wands, and Saturn and Jupiter. All right, so it looks like the next chapter in your life has to do with an emotional release, possibly getting over heartbreak, sadness, any sort of loneliness, if you're coming out of a separation, or even just a period where you've been feeling down, depressed, anxious. This is you letting go and just saying, okay, I need to come out of this. And it also represents taking time for yourself and discovering what it is that you really want. You can see on the 4 of Cups on the After Tarot deck, they have grabbed the cup that's been floating next to them and they've poured it out because they weren't interested in that opportunity. So this is you saying, I'm no longer going to engage myself in circumstances that do not align with me, whether that's somebody who maybe you've settled for a relationship. Maybe you settled for a job that doesn't fit you. Maybe you've settled for relationships that aren't fulfilling or meeting your needs, that aren't typically maybe romantic. Whatever it is, this is you saying, I'm no longer going to accept that, and I'm going to focus on the things that make me feel complete, happy, and satisfied. That is why we have this World card here. When the World card comes up, it represents this pivotal moment where you feel successful, you feel complete, you feel like you've gotten a lot of things done, you have a lot of good things going for you. When I get the World card, at least in my daily life, it represents a day where I've had some hard work, but I've managed to get the things that I wanted done and to feel a sense of accomplishment. So you're going to feel like, man, I have come a long way. I have gone through so much struggle and so much strife. And now I'm finally at the point where I'm getting something that I want, or, I don't know if it's everything that you want, but you're getting something that you want. And because it's next to the 4 of Cups, it makes me feel like there is something to do with either something that brings you emotional fulfillment. Typically, Cups do connect with other people, relationships, but it can just be some sort of internal satisfaction. So either you yourself will just start feeling like a sense of personal peace, freedom, and accomplishment, or you'll find yourself connecting with people who just seem like they are part of your tribe. Your next chapter has to do with you expanding your mind, traveling, educating yourself, being resourceful, gaining new perspectives. It's about entering a new stage in your life that is in no way similar to what you have gone through in the past. And we've already got like a brief preview of what you may have gone through, which may have been some tough times we see here. This is representing feeling like you are in charge, like you are the leader and the commander of your own life, like you are aligning yourself with your true purpose, and that things are just finally lining up for you, and that you get all that hard work, all that heartache, all that sadness, all those tough times, all the dissatisfaction has finally paid off, and you have gotten to where it is that you need to be. Sometimes I get the World card to represent, like, let's say you're somebody who's like chronically single. This could be saying, okay, I'm no longer single. I'm finally entering a new stage in my life, which would be entering into a relationship, because the World card can represent jumping into a new life and gaining a new title, like Mr., Mrs., like, well, I guess Mr.'s the same title, but Mrs. or something along the lines of that. But it really is about feeling more balanced in your life and just feeling like you have a sense of belonging, letting go of things that just don't bring you satisfaction. You're taking on what exactly you feel is necessary to make your life feel more fulfilled, okay? And you're reaching some sort of long-term goal that you may have had. Another thing, when we have the Queen of Wands here, the Queen of Wands is so vibrant, so bold, so charismatic. This lets me know that there's this rise in confidence. I always get the Queen of Wands to represent like somebody who is like this boss person, but also looks good doing it. So they are serving looks, they are serving intellect, they're serving hard work, they're serving effort, and they are someone who is accomplished, as well as making strides in the areas that they are passionate in, if that makes sense. So whatever area of life that you find yourself very passionate about, you're going to be achieving some sort of goal in that area. This could be you, I don't know, if you're some type, like let's say you were a social media person, this would be you gaining some sort of following amount. Like if you wanted to reach 100K, this would be you reaching 100K. If you wanted to reach 1 million, this would be you reaching 1 million. If you're not into social media and things like that, this would be saying, oh, I finally got my dream job. Or I finally, like I said, I finally got the relationship I want. Or if I really wanted kids, you know, I'm finally, you know, pregnant. And, or if you're a guy, I'm finally having a kid, or I'm finally adopting, or something along the lines of that. But whatever it is, it represents something that you've always wanted, something that you've always just felt, this is my purpose, this is what I need, this is something that's very, very important to me. You're getting that. And because of that, you're just going to be so excited, so elated, so over the moon. The Two of Wands can represent also planning ahead. And so I feel like your next stage, because you are going to reach one goal, you're going to already start planning for that next goal and what exactly is the new direction that you want to go in. The Two of Wands is trying to figure out the best way to go about getting to that next desire, that next pivotal step in your life. I hope that's clicking and making a lot of sense. So you reach one goal, and then you're going to start planning to try to achieve the next goal. So something's coming in that's going to be very beneficial towards you and very happy. One thing we don't have is a lot of pentacles. So I don't know if this means, I think this means is the next, okay. When I get a lack of pentacles, one thing it can mean like, then sometimes it means finances and things aren't that important. You're not worried about finances. So it could mean the next stage in your life, there's less concerns about finances. It could also mean that the next stage in your life, there's not going to be a lot of routine to it. It's going to feel very fast paced. It's going to feel very high energy. It's going to feel a little bit unpredictable. And it's going to feel like you're in this stage of your life that is just so swift and so high, fast paced, high energy. Very much like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Okay. That's what happens when there aren't pentacles there, because pentacles are about grounding, consistency, things going through. This is like what a whirlwind of energy coming through for you. when we don't have those pentacles there. So keep that in mind. The next stage of your life is going to be very, very exciting, and time is going to fly by when it comes to this next stage, this next chapter. It's going to be quite amazing for you. Another thing when we look at Jupiter and Saturn is that Jupiter and Saturn, I think I did a video a while ago when I was talking about the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. It was that in 2021 or, I can't remember the exact date. But in that video, I talked about all of the past times in which Jupiter and Saturn conjunct and how it brought these revolutionary changes when it comes to technology and also cultural shifts. Generally, when it comes to a personal level, though, it can mean a shift in focus when it comes to your own personal beliefs, because Jupiter and Saturn people tend to change their religious beliefs from when they were from their upbringing to their adulthood. So let's say if they were raised Christian, as an adult, they may be Buddhist or Hindu. Okay, so they usually change their belief structure. So this next chapter in your life, there is going to be a shift in your perspective and a shift in your beliefs, which I think I already kind of covered a little bit when I mentioned the World card, how there's going to be a broadening of your horizons. And I think that broadening of horizons, I don't know if it'll necessarily change your religion or whatever, but there's definitely going to be some sort of change or transformation of your, it could be spiritual beliefs, it could be your personal beliefs. Like, let's say you're a person who believed that plastic surgery was just not good and you didn't approve of plastic surgery. With this Jupiter and Saturn card coming up in your reading, this would represent that you would be changing that belief to believe something like, oh yeah, I think plastic surgery is great now. Like, I finally understand why people get it. It doesn't have to be specifically that, but it just means that you're changing some sort of significant belief. And it could be more than one when we have Saturn and Jupiter coming together, because otherwise the cards wouldn't mention it. If it was just something like that, I don't think it would be a big deal. But this is something that you may have full-heartedly stood by and believed, and like now you're like rethinking that. Because when Saturn comes together with Jupiter, Jupiter is like this philosophical, spiritual, religious planet, and Saturn is essentially a non-believer. Saturn is very critical. It's very harsh. It gives you true reality. So it's going to make you question things, and it's going to make you dig deeper. So whatever belief systems that you have, whatever things that you, whatever biases that you may hold, we all hold biases. I just want to say that. I'm not like calling you out or anything. Whatever biases you may hold, or any sort of thought process where you just feel like, no, I know I'm right about this. This is the way things are. You're going to start questioning that a little bit. You're going to start thinking a little bit harder just about the general things that you believe and that you hold dearest to you. Okay, I'm not trying to like come for you in any way. I just want to say that. Or this can also just mean that you are also expanding your mind when it comes to different cultures, and possibly even traveling more, because the Two of Wands can represent travel, the World can represent travel, and Jupiter and Saturn coming together can represent travel, because it's about learning about new beliefs, different cultures, and certain things like that, and implementing new systems, and that can be new systems of thought. So usually it's new systems of thought on a personal level. Lastly, what I want to say is this next chapter of your life, you are going to be putting in that work. The World card is represented by Saturn. And Saturn is a planet that wants to work hard. And Jupiter and Saturn coming together. What I want to say is in that video when I did the Great Conjunction, when I was doing my research, when Jupiter and Saturn came together, a lot of the times it created more jobs. and it created more jobs for like the working class, but we don't want to go into that whole history. And so on a personal level, this will create more job opportunities, or at least more responsibilities on your plate and more tasks to be done. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to be excited about these things. They're going to be like good opportunities. For example, like let's say you get your dream job, or even like you get your dream house. Well, what comes with your dream house, if it's a big house, then there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to upkeep, when it comes to, you know, laying out the design, when it comes to cleaning and all of those things. Might have to hire contractors. So it's like a lot more work coming in, but it's a lot of work that you would be excited about because it's something that you've wanted. So keep that in mind in this next chapter, that you're going to be busy, which kind of makes sense when we do have that lack of pentacles, and the things are going to come at you fast. Granted, pentacles do work hard, but they take their time with things. You're not going to be able to take as much time with things. You're going to have to handle a couple of things going on at once. I'm not going to say it's overwhelming for you because we don't have any cards that represent that being overwhelming. It's just that you're going to be busy. You're not going to have a lot of moments where you're going to just be sitting and doing nothing. You're always going to be planning that next venture. If not working on it, you're going to be planning it. Okay, so you have a lot of great things coming in for you. And then also Two of Wands can represent like chemistry and passionate relationships. So if you have a relationship, there can be some ignite of passion. Or if you are single, then there can be some passionate flirtations, possibly like a new crush or something along the lines of that. But I think the main focus is on achieving your goals and receiving personal satisfaction and changing your belief systems. And that can be your social belief systems, economic belief systems, political beliefs. It's just a shift in perspective when it comes to something major in your life. Okay? And I do want to mention this really quick because the Two of Wands can also represent like walking in someone else's shoes. So you could be put in a situation where you end up walking in the person's shoes, which you may have previously judged. That's not negative. I'm not saying you've judged anyone or anything like that. But this is just for some people. Some people may be put in a situation where they may have previously judged someone. And then now that they're in that situation, they're like, oh, wait, I kind of get it now. Okay, so just want to throw that out there. Sometimes that happens with the Two of Wands, but ultimately it's a pretty exciting time for you. Okay, a lot of mental stimulation going on and feeling like you just want to take charge and go out there and conquer the world. And you're going to do it too. Like you're going to get exactly what it is that you've been working hard for. So that is what I have for you, pal, number one. And I'm super excited for this next chapter. You have so many great things coming in for you, man. You're going to be a champion. All right. Heck, you're probably already a champion. You're just going to continue your legacy. So I will see you next time. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and au revoir. Hey, pal, number two, let's get started on your reading on the next chapter of your life. We have the Six of Swords, the World card, and I chose the Astro-Tarot deck because I thought it would be perfect for this reading, and Justice. We have the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Coins, a couple of knights here, and Mercury and Uranus. Let's put these here. Okay, so the Six of Swords Astro-Tarot deck, you see on the Six of Swords card on the Astro-Tarot deck, he has finally made it on land with his family, friends, whoever he brought with him. I'm assuming family, but I don't know. I don't know the history of the Six of Swords card, and I don't think you can find too much detailed history on it. But anyway, not important. You see they finally made it to land, to their next destination. They have left those treacherous waters. And you also got the World card. This is so strange. This is so similar to pile number one. Maybe you'll feel drawn to that as well. But the Six of Swords is letting me know that you're moving out of that rocky period in your life. You're moving away from those tumultuous times. Man, you are no longer singing the blues. You can finally just take this sigh of relief that you have that you may have been holding in, like this breath that you've been like, oh my gosh, life is so tough, life is so rough, when am I going to get out of this period? You're out, man. You're going to be out of it, and it's coming up pretty soon. And I love that for you, pile number 2. This is you finally making it to your destination. And that could be quite literal if you're somebody who is moving, maybe even moving kind of far for some of you, because the world card is like the next card next to it. The next card next to it. The world card is next, I should say. This is you possibly taking on more travel, or even, like I said, moving, because these combination of cards can represent moving, and it can represent a big move, okay? But all in all, this is you coming out of a rocky stage, a rough past. If you've been going through some troubling times at the moment, don't worry about it. It's done for now, man. It's leave it all behind. Mourn that chaos and just say, nope, we're done with that. I'm leaving all that baggage behind. It's gone. We have made it to where we needed to go, okay? All that hurt and all that turbulence that you have experienced is coming to a close, okay? Especially since the world card is next. It's saying world card represents ending. This is all that turbulence and blues and sadness, and it's saying, yeah, that's done, okay? We're getting to this new stage in life where we can feel like we have gotten what we needed. What exactly it is that we have been hoping and longing for. I think it is so amazing that we got the world card again with this reading, because the world card represents success. It represents accomplishment. It represents being worldly. It represents traveling. It represents being like the person who's taking the lead and in charge of your life. It's quite amazing. That's why it's that final card, because you're finally reached that destination where you're like, I'm complete, I'm whole, I've reached a new cycle, I've reached a new stage, I have conquered the elements, I have gone through so many very different experiences, I feel satisfied, I have reached some sort of significant milestone, I have undergone some personal transformation, my life has more balance, my relationship has more balance, I am more excited about the work that I do. I'm receiving recognition for the work that I do. I'm reaping the rewards of the seeds that I have sown. So this next stage, you can finally feel like you have entered a place of peace. And that is amazing. Okay. Being able to reach a higher state after going through so many different challenges, pile number 2. I am so happy for you, especially since we have justice following it. So this could be quite literal, like contracts, signing new contracts, or even ending new contracts and ending new legal battles, or something like along the lines of that. If you are someone who was going through the court systems or whatever like that, well, you finally get that judgment or something along the lines, and that court case hearing is over or something. Or if you had some disputes, legal disputes, those legal disputes come to an end and you receive some sort of justice, some sort of fair, balanced ending for you, especially with the world card here being like, yeah, you actually got a fair trade, a fair deal, like things worked out how they were supposed to be. So receiving that good karma is what I'm getting from you. Justice can also represent entering a stage of life where you are improving your communication. And that also, when we have world and justice together, because world represents a lot of different cultures and people, and justice represents Libra and connects to that astrologically in the marketplace, then it's kind of saying that you're going to meet all sorts of new different people that you may have never expected to meet before. Sorry for that weird noise. I'm trying not to say so I'm like trying to stop myself from saying it. But you're meeting all sorts of people that you may have not expected to meet before, especially since we're following it by 2 knights here. And when we have people cards here, it lets me know that there's some new people coming into your life, especially knights. Knights definitely represent new people coming into your life who are giving you different perspectives and different experiences. And you know, they're going to broaden your horizons and broaden your intellect and create a stronger sense of wisdom, as well as you're going to feel like you are gaining a lot of information and just becoming a wiser person in general, because these 2 cards together can represent wisdom, as well as the 2 of them can represent, this represents Saturn, this is Libra, so this is like Saturn and Libra, and so it's like being, Saturn is exalted in Libra, which means Saturn is, it loves it there. Saturn's like, I can work with people, the conversations are great, I feel like we aren't working as hard because we're working as a team. Saturn loves teamwork. That's why it loves being in Libra. And when it's in Aries, it's like, oh man, I can't stand it here. Like, I gotta carry the weight of the world on my back. Everything's extra hard. Versus when we have Saturn in Libra, it's like, okay, we're doing this as a group. We're working together. We're all equal. We're all putting in that work here. And so it lets me know that you're meeting some people in your life who are very supportive of you. Some people are coming in who are very strategic in the way that they like to communicate. They are open-minded, encouraging, communicative. And there's some people that will take accountability for their actions. So you're going to meet a little bit more reasonable people. Now, they may not be as completely mature, or maybe they're just younger, but they're people who are generally going to be fair people, generally good people that are coming into your life that want to create more harmony than chaos, okay? Non-combative people. Saturn in Libra can also be that you are doing well to express yourself to people. It's has to do with forming strong business relationships, or even just strong relationships in general. It represents having commitment. So if you're someone who's in a relationship, this can be a stronger commitment from a partner. Or, excuse me, if you're single, this can represent meeting people who are serious about commitment and relationships and wanting to work together to build a life together. Wanting to strive towards a long-term relationship, wanting to take on responsibility, not being frivolous, having strong ethical principles, wanting to maintain harmony in interactions with others. Wanting to express their expectations, as well as take the time to consider and think about how they can meet their partner's expectations. So you're meeting more mature people in that sense. It's also that you may even be taking on more professional responsibilities to some degree, just because Libra rules the 7th house, and the 7th is 10th from the 10th. And so it's sort of like a second career house in a way. And we have Saturn in that house. It can usually represent someone who has a huge responsibility to a lot of people. I think maybe Oprah might have Saturn in Libra. I have to recheck that. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is you may be responsible for influencing a lot more people, which is good if you're on a world stage, no pun intended. In terms of, a micro level, this could be you being charge of a larger team. Like, let's say you're used to supervising 5 people. Well, now you're supervising 10, 20 people, okay? So pile number 2, you're going to be taking on more so a responsibility of people under you, which is why I think we have these 2 knights here. So like I said, if they're in that position, that's what it could mean. This could also mean, like, let's say you're grown, you have kids, and your kids come back in to live with you or something along the lines of that. Then you have more people under your household. So that could be something along the lines of that. This can also represent being strategic about your social relationships or social obligations. And so you may not want to go out and just like have like fun and go to this party and that event. You're probably going to want to be more interested in professional events, because with Saturn, the Saturn Libra conversation going on here, it just represents, hey, I want to make sure that when I'm connecting people, it's in a serious manner, and that I'm seeking out people who have high standards for themselves. But ultimately, it's about ensuring that there is a level of diplomacy coming in within your interactions with other people. So I think you're going to get to a stage in your life where you're going to make more serious connections with people. And that's what I want to say. I feel like I've been harping on for that for so long, but I wanted to make sure that you had all the information there. With Mercury and Uranus. Wow, this is an interesting one, because when Mercury and Uranus come together, I remember one time, and this was, I think it might have been this year, but Mercury and Uranus came together, and I received like some shocking news from a doctor. But then it turned out that information was false, and I only learned that because I went back and checked and did the research myself, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I brought it up with the doctor, and they're like, oh yeah, we did get that wrong, right? But ultimately, it was like receiving a lot of shocking news. So you may encounter more conversations that may take you by surprise. So you may enter a stage in your life where you feel like you're meeting people who may say things to you that either bring about this revelation for you, or may even just catch you off guard. It may even feel like, whoa, I didn't know that. You know, expand on that for me. Or that's some interesting information you have there. Let me go fact check that. And so that's another thing when it comes to Saturn and Libra. It's being more strategic about the information that you let into your life and fact checking things. So you're going to have more information flowing in that's going to seem very shocking and very like, whoa, that's not something I knew about, or I had no clue about that, and that seems interesting to me, etc. Da, da, da. And it could be a result of social media. It could be a result of like the people that you're meeting, and they have these different experiences, and you've like just never heard of that, you know, along the lines of that, you know, the more you talk to people, the more you learn things. And so you're learning things, and you're going to want to sit with it and think about it more. And so you're going to be more structured in the information that you let in. You're going to be someone who is going to encounter a lot of different bold personalities. You're going to be someone who is also going to make changes in your routine. Because I remember that same day with the Saturn and Uranus came together, I went to like a new store that I never go to. And it was just a spontaneous moment that I decided to go to. And also I tried a new drink. It was like this, what was it? I can't remember the drink, but it was like something different, and it was like a healthy type of drink, and I'd never heard of it. And I was like, oh, let me try this. So you're more spontaneous in your routine and trying new things. And the reason for that is the Mercury rules the 6th house Virgo, which is the house of routine, and Uranus is a disruptor. It is someone who's like, let me make you be spontaneous about this. Let me make you try this one thing. Let me do this thing. So there is some disruption when it comes to your routine. So the next chapter in your life is going to be you trying a lot of different things, having a lot more unique conversations with new people, learning a lot more, maybe even learning some unexpected information about friends, family, coworkers, learning information about jobs, taking short trips. Uranus and Mercury coming together means taking short trips. And we already talked about trips up here, so it's like the cards are like repeating themselves again. Checking out a new hiking trail, going bike riding, trying to go skating, being like me and trying out different... What is going on? Sorry about that. The camera cut off, got overheated. So as I was saying, I think I left off at like taking short trips, which was being reinforced by the World and the Six of Swords. This can also represent trying out new foods, going to different restaurants, taking on new hobbies or even unconventional hobbies, which could be how you're meeting some of these people. This may not be work related. This could, this could be something outside of your work ventures, because when Mercury and Uranus come together, it's like, you know, making friends in an unusual way or just making new friends. And maybe you're like, okay, I'm into sand art now, or maybe I want to try soap carving, like very unconventional hobbies, you know, starting a podcast, starting a vlog, and then you meet people through that. It could just be meeting people randomly. So you may find yourself making more friends sporadically in this next chapter of your life. If not friends, at least network connections where you can build upon that. This can also be like reaching success when it comes to fulfilling some sort of personal goal, whether that is, okay, I hit my weight loss goal, or I ran a marathon, or, you know, I started a business. There's so many different goals that people have, personal goals that they have. You know, I saved up and I bought this house. I saved up and I, you know, bought this apartment. I finally... I'm trying to think of like some sort of goal in mind here. But, well, I mean, you guys get the point. We all have different goals, but whatever the case is, the cards are making sure that you, or they're not making sure, but they're letting you know that you will reach those goals, okay? I have made it to some sort of emotional development. Like, I feel like I am more at peace, or I feel like I'm more at home with myself. I've achieved some legal victory. I've resolved a dispute. I feel like I was caught between a rock and a hard place about some choice that I had to make about a job, relationship, something along the lines of that. This can also mean like starting a new business. That's something that comes to mind. And then sometimes it can mean learning a new language. And I'm only throwing in learning a new language because we have the World card here as well, and Mercury and Uranus coming up. And Uranus can mean something that's very much different than what you're used to. So that could be something along the lines of that. Maybe we even join a book club, but whatever it is possible that you are picking up a new hobby, or you're going to different places, and that's how you're making more connections. So definitely see you expanding your social circle, making new friends, or making new network connections, or just meeting people that are very interesting and they feel like they are stimulating your mind, and you're going to have more epiphany like moments coming up in the next chapter of your life. A lot of more like creative ideas are coming and flowing to you. A lot of eureka moments coming your way in this next chapter that's just going to feel super exciting. So that is what I have for you coming up. Like, you have so many good things coming up for you, pal. Number 2, I really hope that you are able to explore this new direction of personal development, making connections, achieving this personal goal that you've been working on, putting, if you have some legal issues, to rest, or even forming a stronger commitments and relationships with people. Maybe, you know, meeting your tribe that feels like, oh yeah, these people are my people. These are my kind of people. I love talking to these type of people. Or even being inspired to start something of your own is possible, or starting some new hobby. But yeah, I love that for you. I love that you're enjoying yourself and getting out there and being adventurous. So that is what I have, and feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you next time. Hey pal, number 3, let's get started on your reading on the next chapter in your life. We have the Ace of Pentacles, we have the 9 of Cups, we have the 10 of Pentacles, We have the Three of Coins, and we have the Five of Cups, and we have Neptune. All right, and I chose the After Tarot deck because I thought it would be perfect for this reading because, like, look what's coming next. We get to see them clutching things. We got the Ace of Pentacles here. So this can definitely mean representing entering either a new relationship, new financial opportunities, some change when it comes to your routine as well, because Pentacles tend to represent your routine. This can represent like an additional member to the family, can represent a change in diet, a change of spending habits. There is a lot coming in for you. It's like, hey, I'm taking hold of whatever opportunity is coming for me. And I love how in this card, instead of grabbing the pentacle, they're grabbing the little bug on the pentacle. So it's not, and to me this represents, it's not what the money itself, it's what the money can buy. So this is like saying, hey, I'm obtaining things that money can't buy, things that are meaningful, that are solid, that fit exactly into what I need in terms of fulfillment in life. So I see a lot more fulfillment coming your way in terms of, I mean, it just could just be like practical things, getting your needs met, or just feeling secure within yourself, just feeling like, yeah, I have a strong sense of security in myself and who I am, and I don't need that to be validated by how much money I have in a bank, or who my friends are, what connections I have, or how expensive my bag is. You're just like, I feel secure within myself, okay? Sometimes I get the Ace of Pentacles to be like, oh, I stepped out with a new body. Meaning like, you know, maybe you got work done. I'm not for or against it, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Or even I just worked on myself, gained muscle, gained weight, lost weight, whatever the heck. It doesn't matter. But it's like a new body can represent creating new content if you're a content creator, taking on a new task or something along the lines of that, moving into a new job or a new career path. Like you could be switching your career path. Like you could go from an artist to a computer programmer to an artist, whatever the case may be. This can also mean something along of like injecting something different into your system. So let's say you're someone, I started eating like sea moss. So this to me could be like, oh, I'm adding something new to my diet, which be like Ace of Pentacles represent sea moss or something like that. So this could be like, oh, I'm adding a different substance to my body, something that is fulfilling, nurturing, and good for you, because it is followed by the Nine of Cups. So this next period in your life is actually going to be very great, okay? This can also represent spending money on things that you want to happen, that bring you a sense of fulfillment, that bring you a sense of happiness, that make you feel all good inside. And obviously the Nine of Cups is like food, drink. It's like that card of sometimes gluttony, you know what I mean, if it's going too far. But this to me is letting me know that it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting something that I want. Like this is something I'm spending money on to get what I want. Like let's say you want an Hermes bag and you're like, I spent money to get that Hermes bag. So this next chapter in your life is like, I'm spending the money to get the things that I want. That's just one interpretation, okay? Putting in effort to get something that feels like, oh, this is a dream come true. I'm so glad that I've had this moment. I'm so glad I've had this experience. I'm so glad I've obtained this item. I'm so glad, you know, X, Y, and dream. You know, you wished upon a star and that wish came true for you, pal number 3. And that is so wonderful. You know, in a practical sense, like if you're somebody who's single and you're wishing for a relationship, this can be you getting that relationship, especially since it's followed by the Ten of Cups, which is like a family type card, and having your castle and your security and things that make you feel safe and at home. Ten of Pentacles is such a great card because it represents just having this wonderful home environment that feels safe. It feels comforting. It feels relaxing. It feels luxurious. It feels like all your needs are met. You don't have to worry about things. You have things in abundance. You know, you have like the latest gadgets along the lines of that. You're taking care of your home duties. You're living this life of comfort and stability. So pile number 3, you have some great things coming in when it comes to comfort and stability. I mean, this is pretty spectacular. I don't even know where to start, like stop a start or whatever. But 9 of Cups here also can represent that you are coming into a stage of your life where you feel like you have a lot of options in front of you. And all of the options are so wonderful. I remember one time I got the 9 of Cups to represent a party and how it would go. And when I got to the party, there was just so much food. Like I said, this is my food card, right? And there was just so much food. You can just see the person getting the plate and they're just smiling away. That's probably their second plate. And it's just very much like, wow, I don't even know what to choose from. And all the food was good. That never happens at parties, okay? All the food was good. I definitely get to try everything, but I definitely tried to put my hand in every little thing. So that can mean to me like you have just a lot of good options on your plate about to be presented for you, or even maybe you're starting to have it now, you're getting a glimpse of it. But whatever the case is, it's like this next stage in your life, you're definitely going to be in a good mood, okay? Keep that in mind. And for some of you, it can be quite literal. It could just mean like you're literally eating more. It happens, you know. We all go through stages in our life where we're like, yeah, I'm not going to stick to a healthy, clean diet every single day. Or you go through a time like during the pandemic, a lot of people gained weight over the pandemic. So that would be their next chapter or whatever the heck. But this is not a bad thing. This is you saying, okay, I'm enjoying myself. I'm taking the time to experience the luxury of my hard work. Another thing with this card is that you are in a place in your life where you're going to be catered to and waited on. There are no wands here. Keep that in mind. When we have wands, we have somebody exerting a lot of energy and a lot of effort. Wands are very active, go-getter, independent cards. This is not that, guys. You know, Pentacles like to work with people. Pentacles are slow moving. Pentacles take their time. Pentacles do work hard and they can work independently, but they're not as fierce when it comes to throwing in that energy. Wands are the card of energy. If you need energy, then you have wands, and you don't have wands, right? So this next stage in your life, you're not going to be putting in all that work. You're going to be more so the person being waited on. Even with this 5 of Cups card, and you see they're all sad and they're whining, they're surrounded by people who are catering to their needs. This 9 of Cups here is got someone serving them a plate. And then this thing is, the 10 of Coins here is literally like some kind of castle or palace that someone is living in, okay? So this next stage of your life is going to feel like very like luxurious, very much princess, king, queen, prince like, okay? And that's you being the princess, king, queen, prince, where you're being waited on by others. Other people are trying to cater to your needs. Other people are trying to support you with your emotions. You're not having to be the person who is like, I have to take the reign all the time. You're going to be, this next chapter in your life, you're going to step back. You're definitely going to step back. These are not cards that represent too much hard work going on here. 10 of Pentacles already has the job done. The Ace of Wands just started. And the 3 of Pentacles has help. These, this like represents people working together as teamwork. And as you see, the 5 of Wands here, even though there's some disappointments, there may be some things that, you know, you're not going to always get your way all the time. Let's be honest. We don't all get our way with everything we want all the time. Though that would be amazing, wouldn't it? It would be so great if we could just all just get what we wanted. Well, maybe not all of us, but it'd be nice if we get what we want sometimes, most of the time. But that's not happening. So there's going to be some disappointments coming up. in this next chapter. But back to what I was saying, there will be some disappointments in your next chapter, but for the most part, things are great. These are disappointments of not being able to sort of get everything you want because you have so many options. It goes back to that example I gave just a while ago. That's just a couple of moments ago, where I was talking about how I was at the party and there was like a buffet of different options in food. Obviously, I couldn't try every single item of food that I wanted to try because my stomach is only so big, right? So it's really not saying anything bad. It's just like you have so many good things going for you. It's like you can only have so much. Like if you have a grocery cart, you can only carry so much in that cart. And so that is what this Five of Cups energy is. Just like, hey, I can only carry so much. I'm going to have to let certain things go. And though you may be disappointed you can't take on every single opportunity out there for you, you still have so many great things going for you, and where you will feel fulfilled and just be enjoying your life. And I want to loop back around to this Nine of Cups and this Ten of Pentacles energy, because it lets me know that the next chapter in your life will connect to long-term fulfillment, long-term lasting fulfillment, some sort of lasting legacy, emotional satisfaction, being able to settle down. This could be starting a family. This could be completing a degree, being more involved in your community, having stronger family bonds, paying off a debt, making good investments, setting up a trust, life insurance, because those things you will benefit from in the long term. So the next chapter in your life is not only reaping the benefits that what you've worked hard for, but also setting up future things in which you will benefit from, or your family will benefit from in the long run. This is a very stable chapter. This could also be moving in with someone if you are in that type of relationship. With the lack of wands, it also may say that it may be a period that could be a lack of inspiration, but it's not necessarily that. For some of you, it may be that. For some of you, the next chapter may feel a little bit uninspiring. But for others of you, this could just be what I was saying before, where you already have enough plates on your table and you just want to nurture what you already have. So it's more so entering a period of rest. Okay, so just want to reiterate that thing about the wands. Obviously, everything doesn't apply for everyone. It's a general reading. Now, let's get into this Neptune energy. I do want to say the Three of Coins is obviously working together to get something completed, some sort of goal, something done. Like if you were adding a industrialized kitchen to your house, it's like saying, okay, you've completed that goal. And what it is that you were trying to do there. If you were just trying to expand your wardrobe, you're going to complete that goal. If you're looking to just move and get into a new situation, you complete that goal. If you were saving for an apartment, a house, etc., a condo, this is you completing that goal, and even receiving help from others, which is that either maybe taking out a loan or support from family, something along the lines of that. Or even just having success in a personal project that you've been working on a while. Like I said, I don't think this is something, well, it could be with the Ace of Pentacles new in that way. But it's not some sort of passion project. It is something you enjoy, but it's not the same level of passion that would be if you had like a wand card energy going on there. Okay, there's a practical element to it where you're like, I think this could potentially benefit me financially, is usually what Pentacles are in. So it's a project or a hobby that could potentially benefit you financially, versus Wands energy, they're just doing it for the love of it. They're doing it for the love of it. They're doing it for the enjoyment, for the communication, for the attention, etc. Okay, this is you being a little bit more practical minded. As I was going into with Neptune energy, this is you entering possibly a period of physical transformation of your appearance. I did a video on Neptune beauty, and In the video, I obviously talked about how Neptune people will continuously transform their image, and that's something that is very prevalent theme in their life, whether that is weight fluctuations, healthier skin care. Sometimes it can go in the opposite direction where, you know, you may get acne or you may gain a bunch of weight. It could be something along the lines of that, especially if we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups here. That could be, you know, you enjoying too many foods that may not be the best in terms of your weight management. In that case, you know, it happens, whatever. But generally, Neptune focuses more so on improvement to health, usually focusing on like holistic measures or preventative health practices. I don't remember if it was millennials or Gen Z who were experiencing the Neptune square or sextile back in like the pandemic period, and literally over the course, I think, sorry about that, pile number 3. I have been struggling to film this thing. I've been coming up against so many different challenges. As I was saying, from 2009, around 2009, from around 2022, there have been some transformations in society when it comes to being more health conscious, focusing on holistic practices, maybe taking in some Eastern medicine and practicing preventative health practices, as well as having more environmental awareness. You know, from 2009 to 2022, I think in 2009, I had no clue what almond milk is, but now you can probably get almond milk at any typical coffee shop. So certain things like that, you'll see like these little commercials now, or TikTok or Instagram influences of those green powdered things that you can put in your drinks, like Take Your Greens and stuff like today. So people are more like health conscious, more health aware, focusing on building a healthier lifestyle, not only for themselves, but even potentially the environment. And so for you, your next chapter in life could be focusing on creating a better health for yourself, creating a better lifestyle for yourself. You could be more environmentally conscious, as well as you could be making more eco-friendly purchases, you know, recycling more, etc., things like that. Maybe even using clothing that is more eco-friendly and things along the lines of that. Even holding on to clothes longer is better for the environment. But anyway, you can make certain changes in your life that have to do with that. Technology can also be something that's more integrated in your life. Let's say, you know, you sign into work, you use a card. Now maybe your work gets some sort of update, and now people can log in with their phone and they just swipe their phone and go, like how the metro and a lot of metros are now, how you can just pay by phone and you don't need a card. So more technology is going to be integrated in the next step in your life, or even something along like using AI for everyday uses. So you could be using AI to write messages to people. If you're a storyteller, you can use it to tell stories. You can help yourself be more creative or bounce off ideas, or even I don't know, whatever you can think to use AI for. You may find that it's part of your life. Maybe you like to create AI art. Maybe you like to create AI music. There are so many things that you can do with AI art. I just saw a video of a woman using AI to create this snake-like fashion on her dress, which it very might well be the first integrated AI dress. So there's a lot of uses that can be used for AI, and I feel like that's going to be more integrated in the next chapter of your life. One thing that needs to be noted is Neptune is a very ambitious planet, is the planet of big dreams, like incredible dreams, like, you know, I want to be the first female black astronaut in space. Granted, there may have already been another black female astronaut in space, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like a huge dream, a huge goal. And with these cards here, it lets me know that you're probably going to reach that goal in your next chapter. You're dreaming big, and you're going to have the opportunities to achieve that success. So some sort of dream is going to come true within your life in this next upcoming chapter, and it's going to be a big dream of yours. It's not just going to be some small goal, or you could be kicking off things on your bucket list and things that you want to do and always wanted to do. One thing about Neptune is it can also increase debt. So as we had that trine and square to millennials and Gen Z, there's also been an increase when it comes to people taking on debts and having less job security. Now, you yourself seem to be okay with all these pentacles here. It seems your situation is particularly stable, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be taking on debt. It just kind of means that eventually you will be able to pay it off, or you taking on this debt will actually be something beneficial for you, and it will work out in the long run given these cards. It looks like that's going to be the case for you. So a lot of personal development happening in your next chapter. And then the last thing I want to mention when it comes to Neptune is there also can be a focus on mental health. So if you've been struggling with some feelings of sadness, gloominess, depression, this is you in your next chapter trying to focus on being able to handle and deal with those emotions. So you may have had trouble dealing with these uncomfortable feelings before, where you may have had some unhealthy coping mechanisms. This is you trying to create better coping mechanisms for yourself and wanting to have a healthier mental space for yourself. And that is all I'm going to say because the camera just wants to shut off. I'm having so many issues. I think I just need a new battery or something. I'll get it together, guys. You know, I've got to... No one's more frustrated than me about this issues with this thing, because I've tried to film this a billion times. Could be a sign from the universe that it's trying to let me know that this next chapter in your life, you're going to have to go with the flow. I know there's pentacles there and is which are a little bit more stable, but there's also some water there, which is very fluid and boundaryless. So there's some things that are going to be unexpected that you're going to have to roll with a little bit. And they're going to be a little frustrating for you. I think that's what the cards want me to throw out there for you. That everything's not always rainbows and sunshine. Unfortunately, there's going to be moments where you're just going to be, you know, interrupted or feeling like, oh, I'm going a little bit off the path that I want to go on, but now I'm back on track. Okay, so I think that's what the cards and universe wants me to say, because why else would it give me so many interruptions? I'm going to take that as a sign to give that message to you. But that is all I have for you, and I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 4, let us get started on your reading. And these cards were jumping out when I was trying to shuffle them. We have the Knight of Cups, the 4 of Swords. I think you guys have like some kind of powerful message for you. The King of Swords, the 8 of Coins, the 2 of Swords, and Moon and Venus, not versus Venus. They're not battling each other. Excuse me. Okay. So first things first, let me look at what we have here. Similar to the last pile we just read, there's no wands here available. So no wands could be anything from a lack of inspiration, a lack of initiative, or it could just mean a time of rest and not taking on as many responsibilities or having to be so get up and go. So one of those things are going to be for some of you. Obviously, not everything's for everyone. This is a general reading. Keep that in mind. But essentially, when we don't have wands, we don't have that super energized activity experience, you know, going on, okay? Because wands bring the heat, they bring the energy, they bring the passion. So this next phase in your life is not really bringing in that sort of high energy that wands bring. So things may be a little bit slower, a little bit more at a standstill here with this 2 of Swords. Oh, and the Four of Swords. A lot of cards about like resting, standing still, staying in one place, taking your time to recoup, rejuvenate. I think that's what it's mainly saying. And I love how the cards will say the same thing in so many different ways. Like, that's what makes tarot so beautiful. Tarot and astrology so beautiful. So with the Knight of Cups here and Moon and Venus, that lets me think that if you are single, there is a good chance that you could possibly be meeting someone at this time. When Venus and Moon come together, it can represent the start of a new relationship, or wanting to even seek out a relationship or some sort of romantic or, sexual connection, or intimate connection, I should say, with someone. Moon and Venus, I know for me, I think the first time we came together this year was probably early January. And I think at that time I had a date with my now ex, right? So it kind of just brings people together who may be partners, lovers, etc., coming together, having some sort of intimate romantic time together. That is what the Moon and Venus wants to do. And the Knight of Cups is all for that, supporting that type of energy. If you're in a relationship, this could mean spending more time with your significant other and having more spontaneous things to do together, or just more romantic things to do. I wouldn't say it's necessarily super spontaneous because we don't have a lot of wands here. Oh, sorry guys. Maybe the cards are like, no. Expect the unexpected. I accidentally kicked the claw. They're like, no, there's going to be spontaneity. Okay. Sometimes the cards will let you know. Okay, my bad. So maybe there is some spontaneity coming for you about number 4. But just not in the, daredevil type of way. I'll say that. Also with the Moon and Venus, you have yourself like sort of embracing your more so intimate sexuality along the lines of that. And I think the last time that I had Venus transit my moon, because the moon transits Venus quite frequently in the chart, so it's a little bit more rare when the Venus transits your natal moon. But the last time that happened, I had jobs reach out to me for interviews. So this makes a lot of sense because when we have the moon, which is a planet, can represent home and stability, and we have Venus, a planet which represents finances, it's like saying you may receive more financial opportunities, and that could come in the form of a job interview. That could come in the form of, I don't know, some other ways or side hustle that you may make, so that you may make more more money at a side project or some sort of side hustle going on for yourself. And as I was saying, you may also be supported in your endeavors because the 8 of Coins represents being supported by a benefactor in a way. So there may be somebody who is investing in you, whether that is you specifically having being of creative and being invested in by someone who like that, quite literal, like the 8 of Coins is showing here, with the artist being supported by some sort of benefactor. But then this could also be being supported by an audience, supporting by advertisers, if you're like into social media or just media in general. I don't know. People have regular media jobs. But it also represents putting in due diligence, time, and effort to your responsibilities and the task that you have at hand. I should say, though, this needs to be reversed because Swords and Pentacles are kind of like, This can also represent that you are going to be at a stage in your life where you are learning to develop new skills, because we also have Moon conjunct Venus, which represents studying, because Venus is a guru. And the moon is also a collector of knowledge, a student of the world. If you may see, the moon kind of represents this big open mind. And the 8 of Pentacles is also a card that represents being studious and looking at, small details, kind of like a student. in that way. So I don't know if there's something that you need to study for, something you need to grow in, some sort of work you might need to bring home and focus on and learn, or whatever the case may be. But that is also what could be happening for you when it comes to that. You also may find yourself gaining some clarity about some financial choices you may be making, because the 8 of Coins represents taking a detailed look at your finances. And so this could be like your next chapter is creating a budget for yourself and managing to stick towards that budget and make healthy decisions for yourself in your life, and to just gain clarity on how you want to do things. And that could also be like the Venus and Moon coming in to say, okay, I have a better understanding of my finances, and I can feel more at ease and more at peace during this period. This also represents sort of like facing reality, taking a realistic approach. Just no longer avoiding things that you possibly may have been avoiding in the past. If you've had to make some uncomfortable decisions lately, then this would be saying, okay, I finally have accepted that I need to make these decisions for myself in order to better my future. And I acknowledge that I may be uncomfortable, I may be overwhelmed with the consequences of those choices or at first, but I think ultimately this will benefit me in the long run. So this next chapter in your life, you're going to make a decision, and it may have to do with finances or your schedule or some job or some sort of practical situation. And there will be people who are there to support you in this decision, and they'll stick by you. But it's going to feel like, man, I really didn't want to have to do this, but I just got no choice. You know, I just have to do this to bring something better within my life. Okay. You know, like if you're someone who had a heart attack and now you don't want to have to eat healthy, but now you've got to, because the doctor says if you don't, it's going to be detrimental for you, something along the lines of that. So it may be a decision you didn't want to make, but you had to make it. Okay. So that can be what this represents. This can also be you having to really, I don't know, I just always get this, for some reason I just get like a lot of reflection and a lot of like turning inward towards yourself and what you need to do. It's really like you saying, I want to take a hard look at the decisions that I make and how I can strive to ensure that I have a stable future. And there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of mental stimulation going on for you right now. I know we have this 4 of Swords, and I really think that this is like saying, I'm taking the time to reflect and make sure that I make the right decision. I don't know, some important decision that's coming up for you in your next chapter. I wonder, because sometimes when we have these cards laid out, it can be like, okay, I want to make money doing something I love, but the thing that I love isn't paying the bills. You know, that's why you have that saying, starving artist, right? And so this is you saying, okay, how am I going to make sure that I'm doing something that I love and that I can also live my life and have something sustained? It doesn't have to be specifically that choice, but I feel like it is that choice for some people. I feel like you're saying, I really want to focus on this thing, but there's a lot of impracticality going on in that area if I choose to do so. Or I'm really going to have to buckle down and make a lot of sacrifices if I do that. I wonder what this decision is. I'm guessing it must be different decisions. It may even be multiple decisions, because with the 8 of Coins, they're looking at a lot of things. Like you see there's 8 different pinnacles that they're painting here. So there's a lot for you to reflect on in this next period of your life. The next period of your life is really about focusing, meditating on what it is that you want, and then making decisions about what you need to sacrifice to get there. What's the plan to get there? What does this future look like for you? And how can you ensure that you're going to grow in the right direction? If that makes sense. You may even be a little bit disinterested or dissatisfied in what you do right now, and maybe that's what the cards are telling me. Like you're like, I'm not satisfied with my work and what I have to do right now, but it's important that I invest in this because there's some practical element. Like I need something to pay the bills, you know, something along the lines of that. Like I don't want to work here, but they're giving me a check, or they have this sort of health insurance plan, and this would be good for my children, or this would be good for me, and they have a lot of perks and benefits at working here, or something along the lines of that. It doesn't have to be work related. This can definitely be something other than a job. You know, I do think these cards give me the feeling of like burnout. I mean, they really do. This is just like, man, I put in the work. I'm a little tired, man. And you're waiting for something more exciting, something more fulfilling for yourself. And this next chapter is you trying to get there. You deciding what that is. You figuring out what it is that makes you go. And if you already figured it out, this is you figuring out how to get there, how to make sure that you're living that life where you can feel inspired and feel like that love and creative spark, that Moon and Venus energy, where you're like, yeah, I like this. I love this. I love going and investing in my creative pursuits. I love going to see musicals. I love makeup. I love writing. I love whatever it is that you love doing. I love, you know, making shoes, or I don't know. People have so many different hobbies. I love baking. I love cooking. And you're like, how can I do this more often? Or how can I do this for a living? Or how can I even possibly make money off of this hobby? Or how can I get to a place where I get to do what I love, maybe even every day or more frequently? That's what I see coming in. Okay? Definitely pile number 4. I feel for you on that, because that's a complicated issue if that's what you're experiencing. I definitely see that you want to figure out where you can go from the next stage. The good thing is that you do have that romance and new people coming into your life that seem to bring you peace, and they're able to help you think things through and reflect on things, and they have a very mature mindset and a lot of wisdom. But sometimes people talk too much. And because this King of Swords is like right before the 8 of Coins, we could even reverse this. But sometimes I don't reverse things if they're on a new row. But we could. And we could say that this person is kind of like, or these people are coming in and they're giving you all these ideas and it's like confusing you. This would be like if you're on social media and people are like saying a whole bunch of things that are like fear motivated, like, oh no, you shouldn't do this because, you know, you'll end up broke, or you shouldn't leave your life and drop and go to a new country because how will you get a job? Or, you know, it's kind of like all these different voices in your head that may be convincing you to not do what you want to do. It could even be your internal voice that's doing that. But the cards really want you to go for it and follow your passions. I do want to say that. And that's an important message for you. They're giving you more of a message than the next chapter. But the next chapter, like I said, it's not high energy. It's more reflective and figuring out what it is that your next step is going to be. A lot of time to yourself. Definitely hearing things from other people. Engaging in conversations with what they have to say. But it may not always be something that is useful to you, as I mentioned before. It can be, but you're gonna have to like sort through all of that noise, okay, and to see what resonates with you from the messages and the communication that you're getting. But this is definitely a time about learning more about yourself, learning more about how you can achieve the things you want, trying to sort through your own thoughts and feelings. Maybe even trying to change your career, job, getting out of a new situation. For some of you, this might even be taking the time to reflect if you even want to be in a certain relationship. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the year, I had Venus conjunct Moon at that beginning of the week, and I was spending time with my then boyfriend, now ex, and by the end of the week we broke up because I was taking the time to actually reflect about what it is that I actually wanted and if that is the relationship that I wanted. So for some of you, this could mean a breakup and finally releasing yourself and going and being with someone who might be more compatible. It doesn't mean that for all of you. I do want to say that. But for some of you, it can mean that. You're definitely growing a lot mentally. You're taking it slow. And if you are meeting someone at this time, you're going to be, it's going to be a slow burn in terms of your relationship. If you're an artistic person, this can also represent some sort of creative retreat that you're going into. Reflecting on your career path and goals. Looking for a more emotional, fulfilling opportunities like I was doing the last time. Focusing on your mental health and well-being. Maybe even taking up meditation, possibly. There's this element of peace to this. I don't want to keep repeating the same thing, so I'm going to wrap this up. What I want to say is that you're trying to make clear decisions for your future. You want to take the lead and make sure that you're the one who's in control of your life. You may take in the opinions of others, but they also may cause you some more confusion. You're going to want to take time for mental breaks to establish strong boundaries in your relationships. That's coming. And looking out for your emotional well-being is probably one of the major thinking themes of this reading. Wanting to create a more balanced mindset and working on integrating more enjoyment and pleasure within your life. That is what you're doing, pal number 4. That's the main message, the next chapter in your life. I do see a time of reflection and peace coming for you, but you may experience some mental frustrations. I just want to say that. And that is what I have for you, pal number 4. I'm sorry if this was more of like a message than the next chapter, but for some reason that was so important. And remember, you guys where the cards were like flying off the handle when I was sorting this and like trying to get these out. Like it was a lot. Okay. I just want to say that. So this is really important that Spirit wants to say. Now, if this doesn't apply to you, you know, feel free to choose another pile, but I really do think that this is the message and you're going to move forward into a better place for yourself. Okay. So that is what I have for you, and I will see you next time. Hey, pal number 5, let's get started on your reading on what's next in your life, the next chapter. I chose the After Tarot deck because I felt it was fitting. Don't you just love it? We have the Ace of Cups, the 7 of Pentacles. I don't know why my brain just blanked there. The King of Coins, the Pope, or the Hierophant, if you wish to call it, the Ace of Wands, and Mars and Saturn here. Okay, so the Ace of Cups. Wow, so if you are looking maybe for something romantic to occur within your life, then the Ace of Cups is the perfect card for this. You can see on the After Tarot card, the hand is holding the heart. So they take hold of the offerings that is in front of them, which can be a love offering. It could also be something that is friendship oriented, or even just doing something that you enjoy, because sometimes the Ace of Cups is just embracing things that you find enjoyable and pleasurable in life and just saying, yeah, I'm just going to take the initiative to give myself a little staycation or give myself a little mini break, you know, get my nails done, get my hair done, look good, whatever the case may be, something that makes you feel good. You're going to just embrace that. You're no longer going to be holding on to this feeling that you need to, you know, suffer to get what you want or something along the lines of that. If you've had those feelings in the past or recently, this is the perfect time to just say, no, it's time to embrace a soft girl era, okay, or a soft guy era, whatever the case may be. We also have the 7 of Coins to represent something that you are doing. If we combine the cards here, it's like investing in something that you love, investing your time in taking care of yourself or taking care of your valuables or people, even people in your life. The 7 of Coins can represent you taking the time to build upon those relationships and even deepening those bonds that you may have, deepening friendships, deepening relationships, deepening family connections, whatever the case may be. It is about investing your time and effort into things that matter to you. And with this 7 of Pentacles here, it looks like, that you already have had some results in that area and that they will continue to grow. Now, from like a monetary perspective, this could be that you've already like invested something into like a 401k or a Roth IRA or stock market, and you're starting to see it's growing a little bit more. Like you've already had some returns on your investment and it's just going to continue to grow. So the next chapter in your life is expanding upon those previous investments and making them grow even bigger. Perhaps like, for example, if you're into stocks, you're learning more about that and you're learning how to double your investments, triple your investments, quadruple them, whatever the case may be. Maybe you were a little bit of a beginner in the past and now you've gained some momentum in that area. This could also apply to things when it comes to your work environment. Say you've worked at a position for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case may be, and you feel like, you know what, I want to take on a new role, I want to take on new responsibilities, I want a raise, I want a promotion. This is you making sure that you get that raise, that you get that promotion, or even get that new job that may be coming your way if you are so interested. If you're someone who is more so focused on your hobbies, you're not a career guy or girl, you're just someone who just wants to invest their free time in doing things that you enjoy and build upon, or if you have your own business, this would be you expanding that business or even expanding your hobbies. Let's say you're someone who makes dolls and maybe you've only given them to family and friends in the past. if they had requests for them. And now you're expanding that to other people who may be making requests that, hey, I like that doll that you made for so-and-so. Could I get one too? And this is you expanding that connection, those friendships, and building upon those customer relationships. That's the word that I was looking for. And expanding in that area. So there's a good amount of period for growing your finances, even just growing your savings. That's something that could possibly be happening, and reinvesting things. Like, for example, let's say you want to get some savings bonds, or even take your savings bonds and invest them in a mutual fund or something along the lines of that. But it's really just about growing that wealth that you have already been gaining, or building upon knowledge and skills that you already have and have attained. This could be you saying, okay, I've already got my GED, I'm going to get my associates. I've already got my associates, I'm going to get my bachelor's. I've already got my bachelor's, I'm going to get my master's. I've already got my master's, I'm going to get my PhD. This is something that is building upon something that you have already had some success in the past. How many times can I say the word something? That's got to be a record for a reading. King of Coins is relating to this energy. It's letting me know that there is just going to be more financial luck, more financial stability within your life, more consistency within your life, especially since we have the Pope card, which is like the Hierophant. So it connects to Taurus, and it also connects to institutions. So this can represent work environments. It can also quite literally represent clubs and groups that you may be a part of, and network circles for certain cases. The Hierophant comes up when we want to create education or build upon education, get degrees, get certificates, get certifications, and also being supported in those ventures and having those pan out and be beneficial to you, whether that is financially or creating a bigger network or more opportunities for yourself. Whatever the case may be, the next chapter in your life is building upon that momentums here. So if you're somebody who's looking to expand your career through your education, this is the perfect time for you, because you are being supported, and that looks like what the universe wants to give you. That's what's coming next for you, to say, wow, my hard work has really paid off. I didn't get those degrees for no reason. I didn't put in that hard work for nothing. I'm finally reaping what I sow. The thing about the Hierophant and how it connects to Taurus is Taurus has to do with planting a crop and reaping the fruits of your labor, which also has to do with teaching and being a student, which is why the Hierophant represents that. It also represents interpreting divine messages. So any sort of ideas that are coming to you and that are flowing to you now, feel free to take note of them, because they may be beneficial to you in the long run, whether that is you creating strong principles for yourself, whether that is you building upon yourself in a financial way. The Pentacles are so amazing because not only do they represent the material world that we go in, but they represent the moral principles that we stand by. So I took a class one time and we had to discuss the principles that we basically had, our moral foundation, our moral code. And one of the moral code themes that I chose had to do with responsibility and resilience and trustworthiness, I think was one of them. I'd have to look back and see which ones I chose. I have a lot of different values, but these ones were important to me. And I saw other classmates choose things like accountability being one of them, and having strong leadership was important along the lines, and communication. So these are things that certain people may find valuable, and this is just saying that you are actually putting your values into practice. So if you're someone who's saying, hey, I value being honest and trustworthy, you will be probably put in situations which may be difficult, but you'll be able to stand by your principles and remain honest and trustworthy. You're going to be somebody who is able to practically enact your morals as well, and your sense of what makes you feel confident in being you, and makes you feel like, yes, I am a good person, I can stick by my principles. So you're turning into a person who is morally conscious, and someone who seeks to be just a general high value person in that way, someone who has integrity. in that sense, if that's something that you value, which I'd imagine if you are a decent, good person, which all my astronauts are amazing, that you would be somebody of integrity and value. If you're somebody who may be more religious, and I say more religious than spiritual because the Pope here is more so about religious institutions, and spirituality is more of like a free-forming thing. It would be a different card for that, like maybe the High Priestess. This would be you deepening yourself into the church or religious structures, or even, like I said before, some sort of club or group that you may belong to. You may even feel more supported by them and feel that you are surrounded by people who share the same values. This also creates a great environment in which you can learn and grow. So you'll be getting more opportunities where you feel that you are gaining practical skills that you can use in every day. This also represents having some stability in your diet. I always mention diet because I just value health, and health is super important to me. That was one of my values I listed, health. So having more stability and consistency within your health. So if you're someone who is looking to better your health and create a better regimen for yourself, this lets me know that you are going to be able to obtain that. With the Ace of Wands and Mars and Saturn coming together, this lets me know that the next chapter in your life is going to be a good amount of work coming in for you. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Saturn and Mars coming together is definitely hard work and can represent circumstances that can be a little tumultuous. I don't like getting all into the things that may be uncomfortable, but it is important to note because life is not all rainbows and sunshine. We know this. Everyone knows this. And though it would be lovely to hear that we're just going to live in peace and harmony all the time, that is not the case. Mars and Saturn come together and it is tough, man. I remember the last time Mars and Saturn came into my chart, I had a school project that I had to work on, and it's supposed to take a week, but it ended up taking me 2 weeks because the workload was so high and demanding. In my personal opinion, I don't think the teacher quite estimated the amount of research and time and effort it took to create that project. If I hadn't had the free time that I had, I don't think that I would have been able to complete that project, at least to the level that I did. I was in my room probably like, at some point, I think during this transit, like at the height of it with the Mars and Saturn like conjunction, I was in my room like 10 hours a day trying to work on this project and get it done because I had things to do. I had a lot of work to plan ahead. I had a trip I was going to. There was like vacation and stuff I needed to plan. There was a new job on the horizon. There were so many things that needed to be balanced. Mars and Saturn is hard work and effort coming in. But the good thing about this is that you will have the energy to conquer it and do so. Mars and Saturn can also represent like circumstances that can be like crisis situations because Mars does rule the 8th house and Saturn is a planet of, hardship and difficulty. There was a time when I had this strong Mars and Saturn aspect to each other, and I had witnessed some crime, and it was, not a comfortable day for me. The good thing also I see about Mars and Saturn is if you're somebody who is looking to educate yourself, to better your skill set, then this is a great placement because it will give you a great amount of information. Mars and Saturn are a placement that comes together that is really great at research, really good at investigation, really great at digging deep and uncovering things. So if there are some, things that you're curious about, this is the time to obtain information, especially with the Pope here. Like something tells me you're going to have a lot more knowledge and wisdom coming in. So the next chapter in your life, you're getting wiser, you're working harder, and you're achieving the things that you want to achieve. That's something I also want to say with Mars and Saturn. When Mars and Saturn come together, you will work hard, but more than likely you will achieve your goal. Now, if you feel that your the effort was worth it, that's, a personal thing for some of you. But it does indicate that you will achieve your goal more than likely, because these planets do not stop until they get what they want when they come together. It's like this unstoppable force. When you see people who have these Mars and Saturn aspects, or Saturn and Aries, or Mars and Capricorn, it is like, man, these people really are unstoppable at getting what they want. Or even Mars and Aquarius, I have to say, because that's a Saturn ruled sign. Now, as I said, your efforts will pay off. You're going to have to take those mini breaks for yourself. Be conscious of that. No one's going to give you a break. You just got to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I need to put these things on pause, because when Mars and Saturn comes together, people are going to want to give you some more responsibilities and more things that you need to do. And you're going to have to set those strong boundaries and say, no, sorry, can't do it, won't tolerate it. This is not for me. I can't handle that workload. If you're getting a lot of workload here, you know, maybe you have kids and your kids need a lot of help with your homework, and you're like, hey, like, you're gonna have to, you know, try to problem solve on your own kid, or I can help you with your homework sometimes, or maybe, you know, you can get somebody else to help them, a tutor along the lines of that. But it's like saying you're going to have to create some boundaries so that you can have some time for yourself, because the energy coming in is just like, you know, bossing up, okay? Boss up energy, active energy. You're definitely not going to be bored. Another positive thing about Saturn and Mars when it comes to not being bored is that both of these planets have an element of fantasy to them. So Mars kind of represents fantasy, and Saturn sometimes can be this planet of pure delusion. You'll see a lot of people with Saturn placements kind of like get hit with a dose of reality at some point, because Saturn is a planet that just likes to daydream. No one says this about Saturn, but Saturn, it can be very idealistic. I know it's seen as this planet of just like hard work and struggle, but it is a planet that does connect with, and especially in Vedic astrology, with a lot of water sign houses. So a lot of things that represent imagination and creativity. So Saturn does have this creative element to it, which is probably why it's exalted in Libra, right? With Venus. So Saturn definitely loves the planet Venus and creativity. A lot of Saturnian people like art if they are Saturn ruled in general. So definitely this is representing taking time to enjoy some things. It goes back to that Ace of Cups energy, where you're taking hold of opportunities that come to you when it comes to enjoyment. I should also say, during that time when I had that Mars and Saturn conjunction, I went to like 2 different like art museums along the lines of that. I also got to see a movie, and I don't normally go to the theater and watch movies all the time, but it was nice. It was just nice to see that, to be able to go to a theater and enjoy myself. That was just something that I really like to do. And I thought it was great. I thought it was great that I got that experience. So that kind of goes into that mini breaks. That kind of goes into indulging myself into these fantasy-like realms and being able to, I don't know if I was creatively, well, I guess I was, because I was like vlogging at the time. So also creative expression can be part of this feeling of passion. So lots of passion, lots of energy, creative expression, hard work, achieving your goals and what you want. Having more than likely an increase in finances coming your way, being able to be more responsibilities, and people are definitely going to appreciate you for it. And also the Ace of Wands can mean a rise in confidence and being like, yeah, I did that. I'm number one. I got this done. And I should also say, around the time with that Mars and Saturn coming together, I did get a good grade on that project. So like I said, achieving your goals, achieving some sort of like, oh yeah, thumbs up, you did a great job. I definitely see people having a lot of appreciation for you and feeling like, yeah, you're a reliable, stable person, and just a lot of great things coming for you. I did mention the passion. I did mention possibly a new love, new connections, new relationships coming into your life. It's a lot of great things coming for you, pal number 5. And that is what I have for your reading, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Au revoir.